You know, Madam Web has to be one of the most entertaining cinematic disasters that I have ever had the pleasure of witnessing. This is one of the biggest down spirals in movie history, and for superheroes, it is just a nugget of delight. Let me tell you, I've got a story from coming soon. Madam Web refunds caused advanced ticket sales to decline, says theater chain insider. Meow meow. Yeah, we'll get to the box office returns in just a second. Can you let me start the video before you interrupt me? Thank you. Anyway, let's check the story out together. Madam Web hasn't been fulfilling the expectations of a superhero film. 1 week after its February 12th premiere, the Sony Pictures releasing film has endured scathing reviews and box office numbers. To make matters worse, a theater chain insider claims that advanced ticket sales plummeted due to buyers refunding their tickets. The reception of Madam Web's trailer already received mockery and criticism for its ambiguous ties to Spider-Man. Let me tell you what they mean by ambiguous, okay? They have this building swinging shot from the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man film with Tobey Maguire, and they just took that little clip of that building and slapped it into the end of Madam Web for no good reason other than to show, hey, this is foreshadowing for the first Spider-Man film. Quite entertaining, but it was really bad. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie. Those of you who haven't, consider yourselves lucky. You may have dodged a bullet. The movie itself got a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, the lowest score for a superhero film in close to a decade. Do you know how bad your movie has to be to get a title like that? A lot of people are coming out and being like, no, you just don't have any idea how hard it is to make a movie like this when you've got studios breathing down your neck, when you've got executives putting their fingers in everything and changing things. And come on, guys. A bad movie is a bad movie, and it should be critiqued just as fairly as other movies. I know, I understand, but this is a bad movie. We all knew it was going to be bad from the very beginning. Anyway, let's continue before I get carried away on a tangent. According to THR, a major theatrical chain insider made claims about just how badly ticket sales were impacted based on its rough start. Quote, on Wednesday night, you could actually watch advance purchase sales declining in real time as buyers were refunding their tickets. It really says something when you'd rather have Shazam 2 numbers. Well, critics gave DC's Shazam Fury of the Gods mixed reviews and bombed at the box office. It really is sad when you think about it. I mean, if you're wanting to be like Shazam 2 and make those kinds of box office returns, which were also pretty abysmal, that's pretty sad. It's depressing, actually. The superhero sequel grossed $134 million against a budget of $110 to $125. What's more, critics panned MORBIUS, Sony's Spider-Man universe's previous film, and it only made $167 million worldwide, which is rather impressive compared to Madam Web. And that's pathetic. It had a good start, grossing $39 million on its first weekend, only to experience a 74% drop on its second weekend at $10.2 million. Sony will now have to rethink how to make comic book adaptations going forward. Well, they certainly are going to have to do that. I mean, they keep using the same people for these movies, and they keep ending up being disasters, both critically and financially. Why is that? I wonder why that is. Is there hope for a Madam Web sequel? I would say probably not. I don't think that anybody is confident there's going to be a Madam Web sequel, not even the actresses involved with the film. I mean, if you have seen what these women thought that they were getting into, you'll probably feel a little bit bad for them. It seems that Sony or Marvel, someone lied to them. It was either their PR team, their agents, whoever. Someone lied to these ladies and told them they were going to be a part of the MCU, allegedly. And it turns out that they weren't. If you saw in interviews recently with Sydney Sweeney, they clearly thought that they were going to be a part of a bigger universe. The film turns out to just be this weird off-kilter prequel to Spider-Man 1. And that's probably why Dakota Johnson fired some people in her circle, fired her agent, whatever she did. It's very sad, to be misled like that. I'm sure that it's pretty disheartening. You were probably really excited to be a part of the MCU. I know that Sydney Sweeney made some suggestions during the production of the movie, asking the director to have her hang upside down like Spider-Woman in the comics. She wanted to have this accurate, faithful portrayal of Spider-Woman, apparently. But of course, we don't listen to people like that. We don't listen to actual fans of comics and fans of the characters. No. We completely ignore those people, and we do what the studio executives say instead. A number of filmmakers have come out and said that these kinds of movies do not get greenlit unless they are signed off by studio executives. That means that a movie like Madam Web went through level after level after level was watched and was approved. I mean, can you imagine approving a film like Madam Web for release? Neither can I. The insider alleged that Sony felt discouraged over the canceled franchise. Apparently, the success of Sony's Spider-Man universe's next movie would be the deciding factor in reshaping Sony's entire Spidey franchise. It's unfortunate that Madam Web didn't even have any superheroes in it. It had one supervillain who was in a weird pseudo Spider-Man outfit that was kind of a mix between a hockey suit and something else. It was dumb. And then the ladies of the movie who were allegedly going to be in suits, you know, doing Spider-Woman stuff, that turned out to not even be real. It was a dream. And the ladies are in normal clothes the entire movie, just running from this bad guy. It's not even a superhero movie, really. It's just Final Destination, except the Final Destination is this butchered version of Ezekiel dressed up as Spidey. It's crazy. It's stupid. By the way, he's killed by product placement. That'll be in my review. It was absolutely a different superhero movie, going for more of a suspense thriller tone. Told ya. Another unique contrast Madam Web accomplished was having female superheroes take the lead compared to a typical male cast, except they weren't superheroes, just a bunch of teenage girls being led by a 30-something lady who can see the future sometimes. However, it looks like those methods didn't work well for the box office bombed movie. Quote, "We are in transition when it comes to superhero movies," states the insider. I don't know how big that transition is or what the other side looks like. It may be a fewer movies, but bigger brands. Sony is willing to take some risk, but also wants home runs. That's good. And if Sony's upcoming Spider-Man universe titled Craven is a gigantic hit, the narrative could be completely different, so it's too early to know the outcome. Well, I will say this. So far, their movies have been kaput, 100%. Craven, I saw the trailer, it actually looks fairly decent. There were a couple people that I knew that are concerned about Craven's physical appearance. Apparently, he's supposed to be huge and bulky, but I guess Aaron Taylor Johnson in the movie went for a more lean, muscular appearance. However, I think that the path that they're taking with him in the film is pretty good. The film looks all right. You know, it looks decently filmed. It actually looks like it has a plot and an atmosphere. They're not really holding back on the violence. They're going for an R rating, clearly, if you've seen the trailers. And it's definitely looking different than a film like Madam Web that has so many plot holes that if you take one step forward, you might just fall into it and hurt yourself. But it looks like the SSU will depend on Craven the Hunter, which is kind of sad. People may be asking for refunds for their Madam Web tickets now, but critics predict the panned film could be a camp classic fans will appreciate later. No, I don't think so. I do not think so. They may appreciate the kind of attention that they get for bashing it, but I can't see that this film will become a cult hit. It's a super generic movie with a plot that makes zero sense, a villain that ad-libs literally everything, and the voice that's used for his character isn't even his own. It's really pathetic. But okay, you do you. You keep living in dreamland. Supposedly, this film had an $80 million budget. But what I've been hearing is that it actually had a $100 million budget, and it cannot even beat Morbius at the box office. Now, will this ruin Sydney Sweeney's career? Probably not. And Dakota Johnson's career, I assume not as well. But anybody who is going to see a Sony film in the future is going to be super skeptical, if not already checked out, because so far, their movies have not been successful critically and financially. And that is something to keep in mind going forward into a movie like Craven the Hunter and other movies that Sony might push out that aren't connected to the MCU. But honestly, MCU and Sony, they're both doing badly right now. And I really do think that they both need a win if they're going to survive critical onslaught from actual fans who think that Madam Web was a completely unnecessary movie in the first place. But let's just continue not to listen to the fans. Let's keep pushing out nonsense so that Joe Russo and Chris Stuckman and other people in the comic movie sphere can come out and defend these directors and these horribly written movies, because it's really, really hard to make movies, I guess. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance to share it with your friends, that would be awesome. And hey, if you're feeling ultra spicy, consider subscribing to my channel so that you're always up to date on what kind of thing I've got going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Later. Meow, meow.